November 6, 2025. Amid the emerald waters of the southern Caribbean, 15 high-speed boats carrying 180 pirates sped toward the MV Ocean Serenity, an American cruise ship carrying 377 passengers from 17 countries en route to Barbados. The vessel held over $120 million in assets, a perfect reward for those bold enough to seize it. From the horizon, the pirates opened fire. RPG-7 rockets, AK-103 assault rifles, and M60 machine guns lit up the sea like the fireworks of war. Within minutes, they had closed the distance, just 3 nautical miles away and closing fast. Every weapon roared at once, but the pirates had miscalculated. The response came immediately and mercilessly. From Naval Station Mayport, 3 MH-60R Seahawk helicopters thundered across the sky, carrying 45 U.S. Navy SEALs armed with M4A1 carbines and smoke grenades. They were supported by 5 A-10 Thunderbolt II jets, each equipped with a 20mm Avenger cannon and 1,000 rounds of ammunition. Their mission? To erase the pirates' stronghold. Did the U.S. military truly wipe out the entire pirate network? Or will these pirates continue to stalk the Caribbean for years to come? Join me as we uncover the truth. 8 a.m., November 6, 2025, Caribbean Sea, 70 nautical miles north of Venezuela. Golden morning sunlight spread across the open Caribbean, painting the horizon in amber. MV Ocean Serenity, an American cruise ship measuring 482 feet long, about 146 meters, and weighing 11,200 tons, glided quietly toward Barbados with 377 passengers from 17 countries aboard. Laughter echoed from the upper deck, where retirees sipped coffee and children played by the pool, unaware they were sailing straight into one of the world's most dangerous maritime corridors. At 8:46 a.m., a faint distortion flickered across the radar, just a small glimmer, but Captain William Harris, a 54-year-old veteran with 28 years at sea, recognized it instantly. The interference was coming from the south, near Venezuelan waters, a zone that had seen 112 pirate attacks in the past 8 months. Harris leaned forward, frowning as a second abnormal signal appeared on the screen. Static hissed through the radio, followed by a fragment of Spanish. Oro, gringos, rapido. Gold, Americans, hurry. He raised his binoculars. Far to the south, beyond the pale blue haze, a dark ripple moved across the horizon. The very color of the sea seemed to change. "Something's not right," he muttered, turning to his first officer. "Sweep that sector again. I want a full scan outside." The Caribbean sparkled like glass. But far off near the horizon, 15 black speedboats floated silently near Paria Bay. Their Yamaha 250 engines growled low, weapons ready, each boat packed with armed men carrying AK-103 rifles, M60 machine guns, and RPG-7 launchers. They were waiting for the signal. Aboard the cruise ship, the passengers remained blissfully unaware. Couples posed for photos near the railing, unaware of the threat lurking beyond the dark horizon. Captain Harris glanced once more at the gray blot on the radar and felt a chill he couldn't explain. "There's something out there," he murmured, "and it's moving fast." The Caribbean was calm, but beneath that calm, the hunt had already begun. 10:14 a.m., off the coast of Paria Bay, Venezuelan waters. The sea had changed. What was once calm now carried a silent pressure. Inside a crumbling warehouse near Paria Bay, pirate commander Miguel El Tiburon Rojo Alvarez stood before a large map of the Caribbean. Once a Venezuelan commando, now a warlord, his scarred hands drew a red circle around the coordinates of the MV Ocean Serenity. His voice was cold, his command absolute. "Take everything. Leave no one alive." Within minutes, 15 black speedboats roared to life, engines growling like predators unleashed. Each boat carried 12 armed pirates, a total of 180 men, their weapons gleaming under the tropical sun, AK-103 rifles, M60 machine guns, and RPG-7 launchers, belts of ammunition slung across their chests. The boats sliced through the Caribbean at 42 knots, cutting across the sea like knives through silk. At 10:27 a.m., Radar operators aboard the Ocean Serenity detected movement, a swarm of fast-moving contacts closing in from the south. Captain Harris shouted, "General alert, level 2!" But it was already too late. A flash burst from the horizon, an RPG launch. The rocket slammed into the ship's starboard hull, tearing open a 3.6-meter gash and hurling debris across the deck. Glass shattered in the ballroom. Passengers screamed. Alarms blared. The shockwave blew 2 lifeboats clear off their mounts. Panic spread across the deck as a second RPG struck the promenade above, erupting into a wall of fire. Through the smoke, Harris shouted into the radio, calling for help from the U.S. Navy base. "This is Ocean Serenity! We are under pirate attack. I repeat, under attack." Out of the haze they came, 15 long, narrow speedboats racing across the waves, their black hulls marked with a red shark emblem. Gunfire erupted. Hundreds of rounds ripped through the air, shredding railings, smashing windows, punching holes through the ship's steel plating. The first boarding team threw grappling hooks and climbed aboard. 5 men scaled the railings, storming the deck with brutal precision. A 63-year-old Canadian tourist was shot in the shoulder. Others fell to the ground, clutching their children, sobbing. The pirates shouted in Spanish, "Dinero! Joyas! Move!" As chaos consumed the ship, the captain's trembling voice echoed through the intercom. "All passengers, take shelter below deck immediately!" The Caribbean sky darkened with smoke and thunder. The luxury cruise ship had become a battleground, a 10,000-ton fortress besieged by 180 men with nothing left to lose. And farther north, at the U.S. naval base in Mayport, a final distress signal broke through the static, weak but unmistakable. "Pirates, attacking, need help now." For the first time in 40 years, the United States Navy was about to enter combat in the Caribbean. Would the United States crush this pirate army once and for all, or had the Caribbean just become their new empire? 10:39 a.m. Caribbean Sea, 70 nautical miles north of Venezuela. The final distress call finally cut through the noise. On the radar screen inside U.S. Naval Base Mayport, Jacksonville, a red blip flashed off the Venezuelan coast. The message was broken but chillingly clear. "Pirates, attacking, civilians on board." Rear Admiral Charles McAdams, 58, did not hesitate. He slammed his fist on the command console and barked, "Launch Operation Iron Line. I want eyes, guns, and people in the air. Now." Within 6 minutes, the base sprang to life. 3 MH-60R Seahawk helicopters, 1 UH-60 Blackhawk, and a P-8 Poseidon patrol plane thundered down the runway. On board were 65 elite Navy SEALs armed with M4A1 carbines, FNSCAR rifles, and Mk-13 sniper systems, alongside medical and intelligence teams. Their target, the MV Ocean Serenity. At 10:54 a.m., the first Seahawk punched through the clouds. Smoke poured from the ship, black and fierce against the turquoise sea. From 90 meters altitude, pilots could see muzzle flashes below, 5 pirate skiffs still circling like sharks. Target confirmed. Engaging SEALs fast roped through the gunfire. They hit the deck, 5 seconds, locked formation, weapons up. The first M4 burst immediately dropped 2 pirates. One man tried to seize a hostage, but a sniper round pierced his shoulder before he could blink. Within 7 minutes, all 5 pirates aboard were neutralized, 29 hostages rescued, and 4 civilians wounded evacuated to the Osprey. On the horizon, a Seahawk gunner fired a Hydra 70 rocket, sending a pursuing speedboat into a pillar of flame. While medics treated the wounded, a tech who had patched into a damaged pirate radio discovered an unexpected find, a transmission log. It contained encoded coordinates, 10 degrees 51 minutes north, 62 degrees 32 minutes west. The location corresponded to a remote coastal jungle near La Guaira, Venezuela, and the signal was still active. "That's their nest," McAdams said coldly. "We end this today." As the Ocean Serenity drifted in uneasy calm after the chaos, a new operation was already taking shape. The mission had changed, from rescue to revenge. If you think the rescue is over, think again, because the United States Navy has only just begun. Follow me. The real fight is about to start. 11:22 a.m., northern Venezuela, near La Guaira. The coordinates pulled from the pirate radio led straight to a dense coastal jungle ridge in Venezuela, a hidden fortress ringed by mangroves, fuel drums, and makeshift watchtowers. Intelligence confirmed what everyone feared. The largest pirate complex in the southern Caribbean, guarded by more than 70 armed fighters and holding tons of cocaine, anti-tank RPGs, and weapons stolen from the Venezuelan military. Rear Admiral McAdams' voice filled the Mayport Command Center. "We've rescued the civilians. Now we destroy their empire." 11:26 a.m. Orders issued. An MV-22 Osprey, carrying 20 U.S. Marines, lifted low over the waves, escorted by 5 A-10 Thunderbolt II attack jets from a base near Puerto Rico. Each A-10 carried two 500-pound MAC-82 bombs and twin GAU-8 Avenger cannons, the gun firing 3,900 rounds per minute. At 11:41 a.m., the Osprey dropped Marines 2 kilometers west of the compound. The air tasted of wet heat and gunpowder. As they pushed through the brush, gunfire erupted, dozens of pirates firing AK-103s and M60 from the watchtowers. Bravo Squad returned fire. M27 rifles thundered. 2 pirates fell immediately. A grenade detonated near the gate, blowing the entrance apart. "This is Bravo. We're moving in." The firefight turned brutal. 4 RPGs streaked from the compound, narrowly missing the Osprey circling overhead. 1 Marine was wounded by shrapnel but kept fighting. From above, the A-10s dove, low, thunderous, and merciless. The first strike ripped through a convoy of vehicles, igniting 15 fuel drums and collapsing a watchtower into a wall of flame. The second pass unleashed the GAU-8, obliterating the defensive line in seconds. By 11:59 a.m., the compound was unrecognizable, a burning crater nearly 200 yards wide. Surviving pirates dropped their weapons and fled into the jungle, where they ran into American rifles. 58 enemy confirmed killed, 23 captured, and hundreds of pounds of cocaine, weapons, and cash seized. McAdams' declaration echoed across the Atlantic. Target neutralized. Operation Tide of Fire is complete. The operation lasted 37 minutes, and it wiped out a Caribbean cartel network that had terrorized these seas for a decade. Smoke rose along the coastline. The American flag on every Marine sleeve caught the sun, a silent message to the world. No one attacks Americans and walks away. 4 p.m. Caribbean Sea and Washington, D.C. By late afternoon, smoke from La Guaira could still be seen for miles, a dark scar twisting along the Venezuelan coastline. What was once a fortress of greed was now nothing but a crater of twisted steel and shattered concrete. The battle was over. But the numbers told a story almost too staggering to believe. Across the Caribbean, 180 pirates had been neutralized. 68 killed, 47 wounded, and 65 captured alive. More than 1.4 tons of cocaine, 73 AK-103 rifles, 9 RPG-7 launchers, and $1.2 million in cash were recovered from the compound and surrounding waters. Intelligence analysts confirmed the cash was directly linked to 3 South American cartels and 2 arms trafficking networks based in Trinidad and Suriname. The discovery had turned a pirate raid into a full-scale international criminal investigation. At 4 p.m., the MV Ocean Serenity, escorted by 2 U.S. destroyers, finally began its slow journey back to Nassau. Its once pristine hull was now scarred with over 90 bullet holes, a haunting reminder of how close the passengers had come to death. On deck, Navy doctors treated the last of the wounded. Only 3 civilians had sustained minor injuries. No lives were lost. Against all odds, 377 people had survived. In Washington, the Pentagon issued a brief but powerful statement. Any attack on American civilians will be met with decisive and absolute force, no matter where it originates. That evening, Captain Harris stood alone at the bow. The sunset spread across the sea in streaks of gold and amber, glinting off the battered steel of his ship. He whispered to himself, "We thought the ocean was peace itself. But we forgot who keeps it that way." Within 48 hours, 10 patrol ships and 12 MQ-9 Guardian drones had been deployed across the Caribbean corridor. For decades, the sea had been a paradise. Now it had become a front line, a reminder that freedom isn't the absence of danger, but the courage to face it. The Caribbean was calm again, but beneath the waves, the memory of November 6th still burned, a silent vow that America would never again sleep on the sea. November 7th, 2025. Dawn over the Caribbean Sea. The first light of morning broke across the horizon, touching the waters that had burned just hours before. Waves rolled gently against the hull of the Ocean Serenity, now escorted by U.S. Navy destroyers gliding in silent formation. What had been a battlefield the day before was calm again, almost too calm. The air still carried the faint scent of smoke and salt, a reminder of what the sea had witnessed. Reporters around the world called it the Battle of the Caribbean. But for those who had lived it, the passengers, the sailors, the pilots, it was more than a headline. It was proof that chaos could rise anywhere, that evil didn't always wear a flag, and that peace at sea was never permanent. The U.S. Navy's intervention had lasted under 40 minutes, yet it had prevented what could have become the deadliest civilian massacre at sea in modern history. Captain Harris walked the deck at sunrise. The once polished wood was scarred by bullets and soot. Yet in every face he passed, the families clutching each other, the elderly couple holding hands, the crew bandaging one another's arms, he saw resilience, not fear. They had looked death in the eye and lived to see the dawn. In Washington, Admiral McAdams briefed the president with a single sentence that would echo across briefing rooms for years. The ocean was quiet, until we made it speak. The Ocean Serenity sailed on toward Nassau, her hull wounded but unbroken, like the country that had come to her rescue. And as the sun climbed higher, turning the waves to molten gold, one truth endured above all. The sea may forget the storm's roar, but America never forgets the ones who faced it. If you believe this story deserves to be heard, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps these untold battles alive.
And we're gonna let it